If you're a law student who's looking for your first job in the industry and you want to know something that can give you an edge over the competition, you need to know how to use these 3 systems that will allow you to get a job much easier than anybody else. For reference, I'm Dr. Mitch from Unveil. We work with a lot of law firms to help them on their people and growth strategy so they can overcome the common issues that lots of law firms face to do with their cultural growth, their strategy choices, and their lack of people intelligence. But if you're a student and really want to get the edge on the competition, you might think, hey, won't I learn some of these bits of software on the job? Absolutely you will. But understanding how they operate and doing things like free trials and demos and watching a bunch of YouTube tutorials, that kind of thing, before you go to the law firm, that's going to give you a serious advantage, especially in the eyes of a really savvy managing partner or one of the hiring directors at a firm that you want to operate at. So the 3 systems that you'll really need to know to get an edge over your competitors and get your first legal job. Number 1 is your legal practice management software. There are a whole bunch of different popular ones there. The most popular here in Australia is Clio, Leap, Smokeball. There's a bunch of different others, but those are the ones that are really kind of popular at the moment. So understanding how they function, what they do, is going to be really critical. Of course, every firm is going to implement it slightly differently, so you won't be able to fully prepare for the nuances of that, but at least having an understanding of how the systems look and feel and doing things like jumping onto YouTube and watching a couple of tutorials of how they operate is a really smart idea so that you can build up your base level acumen. Number 2 is going to be whichever drafting software a law firm is using, whether they're going old school and they're using Microsoft Word and they're sharing in live documents, or whether they're using one of the more advanced platforms. It really is worth doing a bunch of research. I'll mention something towards the end of this video on that as well. But understanding that you're going to be doing a lot of reading, a lot of reviewing documents, a lot of live edits, live changes, and especially as a junior position, you're going to be helping the senior staff complete their matters. So you're likely going to be in a collaborative drafting software of some kind. So understanding what they are in your area with the law firms in your area is really, really important. And number 3 is going to be the legal research platforms. Now, this one is changing fairly rapidly, as all of the systems are, and we're starting to see more and more law firms that have their own bespoke libraries and their own bespoke methods of research, and that's going to change with the advent of AI. And there's still some of the really common ones like Ostley and Westlaw and Lexis and all of the classics that have been around for ages. So it's worth investigating them and, again, see what they look like, see what they feel like, watch a couple of tutorials. So those are the 3 key systems that you should really have an understanding of how they work. And yes, you should be getting some training on the job, but it is going to give you an advantage if you know the terminology that's used in these systems. If you have a bit of system acumen already going into a job interview, it's really going to help. Because you've got to remember that as a junior, getting your first entry-level position, there is going to be a training burden on whichever firm you enter. So if you can lower the friction of that burden, meaning make it easier for them, then it's going to really give you an advantage over others. Worth mentioning as well, if you are not a systems thinker, if you're not good with software, if you're not good jumping between programs, you are going to struggle. And it is something that if I was you, if I was in your position, I've given some legal students some law students this exact advice, is you need to start practicing your system skills now. That means downloading free trials of software. If you're bad on Microsoft Word, you're not going to have a career in this industry. It's as simple and as cold hard fact as that. So you need to get used to using digital systems. You're not going to find a law firm using paper anymore. God forbid you do. That would probably be a disaster. And how can you actually find out the law firms in your area that you want to apply for a job or a clerkship or a paralegal position? How can you find out what software they're using so that you can actually know what it is? 2 main methods. One, if they've got some CCADs up, they might be talking about, we need someone with entry-level experience on this particular software platform. But if you can't find that, maybe they don't have a job offer going at the moment, is pick up the phone and call them and speak to reception and ask them, what legal practice management software do you use? What legal research systems do you use? I'm curious. I'm a student. I'm trying to learn the systems around my area. Can you tell me what they are? Of course, you might get rejected by a couple of receptionists, but eventually you're going to find a nice one who will go, oh yeah, we use Smokeball. We've only been using it for a couple of years, but it's working really well. Or we use this, blah, 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 blah. You'll get the answers eventually. If you really want to be a bit cheeky about it, you could call them up and say, "Hi, I'm a law student. I'm doing an assignment for uni on what are the common softwares in the area," but you really shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to pull the wool over their eyes. So, hope that helps. Hope that gives you a bit of context on something that you can focus on outside of doing substantive law and doing all of your theories and doing all of those different bits and pieces. Remember that you are going to spend a significant amount of your time dealing with digital systems, so making sure you understand what they are, that is going to give you a significant advantage over other law students.